Okay, since we're working on restorations this week, I thought I would do this one and basically show how I did it. I had somebody ask me how it was done, so I thought it would be a good one to practice on getting out glares. This one's actually a really good one to practice on. The first thing I did was I went up here where it says image at the top. I'm going to go down to where it says adjustments. I'm going to scroll over to where it says black and white. And that's going to turn my photo black and white. Just going to push OK. Okay. And now I'm going to start. There's really not a lot of damage anywhere else, but there is right here, and it's kind of excessive. So we're going to go over here, and I'm going to show you some of the tools that we use. Usually I think it looks like that. So you're going to go to where the Band-Aid is. And if you right click or left click on that and hold it down, it's going to show you a spot healing brush, a patch tool, a content aware move tool, and a red eye tool. These are all tools that we use to kind of heal photos. Another one, if you go down two more, it's going to be the clone tool. If you hold it down, it's going to show you a clone stamp tool and a pattern stamp tool. I personally have not used this pattern stamp tool yet, but I will have to do that so I can let you know what it is. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on getting this glare out. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click the spot healing brush tool, and I'm just going to start pulling, because what the spot healing brush tool does is it pulls from the areas around it. So it allows you to kind of break some of this up. Get these little spots here. I'm just going to start clicking and trying to get this down some. That's probably as good as we're going to get it because it's such a big glare. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hit the clone tool. And I'm going to go up above it some, and I'm going to push Alt and the left mouse button. And this is going to pick a source area. Your source area, you always want it to be clean and fairly close to what you're trying to clean up. So, for example, I'm going to pick right here, and then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to start painting, and it's just going to start moving that. Just make sure you don't paint it back in. Okay, I'm going to go up here, push Alt, left button, and I'm just going to start painting that down. So you can tell his shoulder should be about right here. Okay, so that's cleaned up a lot of it right there. That got that harsh glare that we had out. And the next thing I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go up. Actually, I'm going to show you a different tool. Okay, I'm going to go up here where it says spot healing brush tool, and I'm going to click this patch tool. And the reason I'm going to do that, you see how this does not fit this area here? You can see those marks and stuff. I'm going to go in and I'm just going to make a little circle, and I'm going to pull that up here. And what that's going to do is kind of blend it a little better. So it doesn't look like there's a line. It's basically just patching it with this area here and making it blend. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to rotate the clone tool. So we're going to go over here to clone, and I'm going to try to replace this area here with this area here. So in order to do that, I have to flip it. So I'm going to pick a little bit larger brush, and I'm going to pick where the line is kind of in the middle of my brush, and I'm going to push Alt, and I'm going to push the left button. Okay. Now, before I go over and start painting, because if you see, if I start painting here, it's going to be in the wrong direction. I'm going to go over here to this clone source. If you do not have the clone source here, most of you won't, you can go up here to this where it says window at the top of your screen, click it, and down here it's going to say clone source right here, and you can click that and it'll pull it up. So we're actually wanting to flip this. We're going to mirror it horizontally. This is going to mirror it horizontally, or vertically, and this is going to mirror it horizontally. So we're wanting to actually do it vertically because we want this right side to match the left side. So, said that wrong, but we're actually doing it vertically. So I'm going to go up here and push this, and see how it's lined up now. I can line that. You can see ahead of time where what it's going to put and where. So I can line that up with the shoulder where the shoulder should be, and then I can just start painting down. And his shoulder's a little bit longer, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to start painting, and I'm kind of watching for where it dips, which is going to be right there. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to click it again, because I want a little bit more space, because this shoulder's, it looks like it's out a little bit more. Let me just line those lines back up. I got it out a little far, but you get the picture. You could actually, I don't want to do that. Go back. I don't, because you can see that this over here, and we don't want to do that. So I'm going to paint that so you can kind of see his arm right here. That may have been what I was seeing a while ago, but I don't want to get over in here yet. But what I can do is basically the same thing. I can alt click here, and it's going to match up with this now, and I can just start painting up. Match here, and I'm just going to start painting this in. Too far out. Edit, step back. He's got a little more going on over here than this one does. So I'm actually going to turn this off, and I'm going to clone down. It's a fade here, and that's hard to pull off, and I had a little bit of issues of that when I did it. I'm sure there's a way to do that. My main objective was just getting that glare out of there. I'm gonna go back over here, like this. And I could even just move it like this if I wanted to do that. But I don't want to do that, so I'm going to go back and push edit, step backwards. I spent some time on this one, as you can tell, but that's the idea. You can clone things like eyes, and there's all kinds of things. I'll clone over here, and I'm going to match it up and go down so that blends. And go up a little. And see, that gives that edge a better look. Match it up to his shirt here. And that's just basically mirroring it. Just mirrored the picture out. Okay, and see, now we've got a little bit up here that's over. So what we'll do is we're going to turn off this flip here, and I'm going to put it back over there. And I'm going to take my brush down some. Not that much. And I'm going to pick my source up here, and I'm just going to go along that edge. I don't want to erase that edge. I just want this to blend some, and so it doesn't look like he's got a rough edge there. So that it doesn't look like there's a haze. And again, I can do the same thing with the patch tool up here. Go to patch tool. I don't want to get too close to that black, but pull it up. Circle that. Pull it up. And it basically disappears. There's a few areas here. If I want to touch those up, I would go over here to your, where it looks like you got your patch tool. I click it and get spot healing brush. I can just come in here and clean that area right up. Okay. So now it would be ready to be colored. You can get some of this other stuff out of here, just to help it blend. So that would be ready to be colored now. Once you put color on it, this is going to blend a lot better, because you can see this one's kind of hanging down further than this one, but it'll blend and it'll look okay. So you can see the difference. I'm going to go and push revert so you can see what it started out like again, and it'll undo all that. So we had from that to that. Voila. Okay, now we're going to have a look at another picture. This is one of the test pictures that I put up on Teach. We're going to use a little bit more different tools on this one, so I really wanted to touch on more than just that one. Okay, we're over here, like I said, on our spot healing brush. And you can just go over these lines for the most part and get these out. These ones that don't intersect with like faces and things like that are going to be a lot easier to say get out than the ones on the face. So first thing I'm going to do is just kind of get some of these out that are in the sidelines. And remember, if it like duplicates a line, remember it's pulling from the areas around it. So clean up another area around it, and it'll stop doing that. And healing a photo or cleaning up or restoring a photo in Photoshop is going to be the only time that you're going to be coloring on this background layer here and not creating a new layer. If you try to clean it up on another layer, it's not going to clean it up. Doesn't matter how many times you do it, it's still not going to clean it up. You have to do it on that background layer, because that's the original, that's where the crack exists. Everything else, it doesn't exist there. You're painting like you're painting on top of it. So if you don't clean up the bottom layer, it's still going to show through all the rest. And I'm still having an issue there. So I'm going to take my brush size down, because that does help. It keeps the bleed from being as big. And you can already tell it's looking a lot better than what it did. Get these brown spots out. Could have turned it black and white first. That would have helped. Depends on if you're just trying to clean it up though, and you're not maybe looking to color it. You just want to keep the original look. You don't necessarily have to turn it to black and white. I could sit here and patch all of this, and it looks like there might be some writing there or something, or it's just a weird crack. But I could sit here and really basically do it all with this tool. But because I want to show you some other tools, I'm not going to. You will notice that this tool kind of blurs it, which sometimes, like in the backgrounds and stuff, that's really not a big deal. But when you start getting into areas like their face and stuff, let me show you. You can see that blur. So, edit, step backwards. Edit, step backwards. Okay, so the next tool I'm going to show you how to use is going to be the patch tool. Actually, let's go to the healing brush tool. Just the regular healing brush tool. And the way this one works, it's kind of like the clone tool. You're going to push Alt and click left to select that source area, and it's basically going to move it, which I can kind of still see the crack. You may have to go over it a couple times with that one. Depends on what you're using it for. But it is possible. It's just basically another clone tool. It's blending with the areas around it by allowing you to pick that source. So, I really don't like how that looked. So I'm going to step backwards. Okay, so, let's go to the patch tool now. Go to the patch tool. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to circle this line right there, and I'm going to pull it up until I don't see that line anymore, and it'll take it out. It'll be like it was never there. And it's going to blend this. So, for example, pull it over here where there are no cracks, and it's gone. Sometimes the patch tool will give you some issues when you start getting to the edge of a photo. It'll make kind of like a black spot or stuff. You can still get that off. It's just kind of frustrating more than anything. You can see this yellow spot here, and that's because I didn't turn it black and white. And for the most part, you want to pick areas that are close by because they're going to have the same kind of texture and pattern. So it usually is best just to pull like an inch one way or inch the other, because that's going to help those patterns blend. Okay. Okay. And I can see a big line right through here that I got when I use that healing brush. I'm going to try to get rid of it. See? All gone. You can do this with her face. What it's doing. Well, that comes across right there. And it keeps, see, there's not a blur there now. So as much as possible, I try to use this tool. Sometimes when it's got shading and stuff, it's a little harder to get that right area. Like say this. See, I see a big one right here too. And that just kind of breaks it up some. Like I said, this one's a real handy tool. I use it quite a bit. Helps you keep those facial lines sharp without messing up a lot. It does take time, but the end results are going to be a lot better, I think, with this than some of the other tools that can be done or used with it. You can get a natural hair pattern. You don't get that smudge that you get from some of the other tools like cloning. I may have to clean that one up a little bit. I don't like that one. Like I said, some places it's going to work better than others. I'm going to go ahead and turn this black and white, and I see why. Image, adjustments, black and white. what I did was I went up here and changed it from normal to content aware. Sometimes it works better like that, sometimes it doesn't. I couldn't tell you why. Sometimes it works better than others. But sometimes if you're having issues with it blending real well or something, you can put that content aware, and it'll make it more aware of the content around it when it blends and pulls. And sometimes it'll keep you from getting those funny patterns too. Okay, we've gotten most of our hair cleaned up. It's not perfect. I can see some spots that need to be moved around to kind of make the hair blend better. That helped. Okay, so let's zoom back out and have a look. It already looks 100 times better than it did. However, like I said, I still see these spots that need to be moved to give it kind of a natural hair flow. Okay, now we're going to work on the eye. And the eye is a little bit more complicated on this one because you can't just clone this eye over to this one. So that's going to make it a little bit more difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the clone tool. And I'm actually going to take the size down quite a bit. And what I'm trying to do here is I'm just getting that eyelid in, and I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. I'll do the same thing up here just to kind of make those blends. So I'm going to get, when I think I've got that in the center, I'm going to push Alt and the left key to make that my source, and I'm just going to pull it over and hope that it lines up. And it didn't. Okay, step backwards. Okay, do the same up here. And like I said, this is not exact. This is not a science. It's one of those things you kind of just have to play with for a little bit until you can kind of get it. And it's not always going to be perfect, but you can try. The goal is to make it look better than it did. And it's never, I mean, hardly ever going to be perfect. Alright, and then I need to clean up this white spot here, which that's a little more difficult because it's right on the edge of that iris. So I brought that iris over a little bit, and I think this color here is very close to this color here. So I'm going to take my brush way down. I'm going to zoom way in. Let me see if I can get it down a little bit more. Okay. And I'm going to select this as my area, my clear area. And I'm just going to start slowly painting that out. And like I said, it's not going to be perfect by any means. I can see where I messed that up there. Let's see if I can fix that right quick while I'm up here. And you can usually see this stuff a little better when you're on it. Okay, and then I'm going to start cleaning up these lines. It's better to zoom in when you start cleaning up these lines. It helps you to get a closer area to what's around it and keeps there from being a lot of excessive large streak marks. So I'm just randomly getting areas that are close by. And patching these little lines. Otherwise you get difference in coloring and all kinds of stuff. And sometimes you just have to come at it from all angles. Just kind of clean these up. Like they never existed. And I was trying not to make this a very long video, but restoration is one of those things. There's a lot of different techniques and tools that we use. So it's really a good thing to really go in depth with those, because there's a lot of different ways to use them. And I'm going to zoom out so you can kind of see what we've done and how much more cleaned up that looks already. Go down and fix the lips. Okay, take my brush down a little bit smaller. I've got a line here that's awkward, so I'm just going to go ahead and bring that down so it blends. And I mean, I could get really detailed going and get all these little lines, but you have to realize how far zoomed in. I'm zoomed in over 400%. And there are other things that you can do when you get done that's going to minimize these lines. If there's any left. Like I said, most of them are almost gone, so I mean, you're not even going to be able to see most of these. Okay, so let's zoom out and have a look. See a spot here. A couple spots here. Go back. Step back. But for the most part, her face looks really good. We've got a few places we could clean up or go in a little further. I don't like the way her eye looks. Okay, so kind of looked like it had a wrinkle in it, and I didn't really care for that. Fix her eyebrow a little bit. But it's not perfect, but it's already 100 times better than it was. So that's how I use it. A lot of times after I get done, especially with one that's been this rough, you can kind of still see some places. But what I would do is one of two things. I'd go over and add Orton, or I'm going to go to Filter, Blur, Smart Blur. And I'm going to take the blur down. I like to zoom out so I can actually see what I'm looking at here. I don't want it too blurry. Maybe about right there. And that's kind of going to kind of blur and bring it all together. So, I could go in and do a few more things. Like up here, it's kind of light. Sometimes you can, oh, I don't want to go ahead and take this content layer off. Normal. And that'll make it blend better. So it doesn't just look like there's a sharp edge there where I was cleaning up earlier. But that's how I would do it. I do see one more spot down here on her neck that I need to go in and get. I'm just going to use this right quick. And I can even go back, push the clone, and just clone that down. And that just kind of cleans it up. And that's how you clean up a photo. If you have any questions, just post them on the site, and we'll get it helped.